there's a really great documentary they just released recently called Kiss the Ground. Highly recommend watching that because it really does kind of show it's like, this is easily solvable. Like there's one really quick clip in the middle that kind of like isolates that. It's like in June, I think it was an infrared view they had basically on the globe, right? And it shows like carbon like being released in the air, right? And I want to say it's like in June, somewhere around there, they show this massive, like huge chunk of carbon just like boom, going up into the air because that's the time that we till the earth, right? So the soil is one of our best carbon captures, right? Because we're actually using it as minerals through there to grow vegetation, right? So it shows all this stuff being launched up into the air. And so then on the flip side, in when is it, September or whatever the dates are that all those crops are coming to fruition, it shows a massive reverse of it because all of a sudden you see all these crops like re-pulling it in. So just like one simple move of being able to convert that to no-till by itself, I mean, the magnitude of a no-till globe is ridiculous.
Right.
And so there's simple solutions to it all. And like now that people are paying attention more to fungi and bacteria and the beneficial ways of cultivating that in the right way, it's like that adds another tool to that belt. So it's like you put that system together, and I can't remember the math, but they're like you could flip it around 5 years if there was like actual consent, global consent. That's just the hardest part. So it's there. It's just a matter of doing it.
The no-till thing is really caught on. I know, like, the Emerald Triangle again, it's like as soon as a couple farms start doing something and they learn a better way to do it, everybody follows suit. And it's like
exactly
5 years ago, people were kind of talking about no-till, but like you don't want to sacrifice your harvest. You're like, I don't know, I'm doing it this way and it's working.
It is
I don't know if I
terrifying.
want to try something different.
It's like with us, like if you look into hemp cultivation, the majority of people use plastic mulch in their rows, right? I didn't have the heart to do that because all I could see was like 50% of my acreage is covered in plastic that I then throw away every year. And like there's some biodegradable ones out there. I just question, how well that is actually good for the soil and all this stuff. But just removing that, it was kind of terrifying because it's like then all of a sudden you're battling weeds. So that's a whole different cost, a whole different set of equipment you need to design and make work. And then the potential of like they're taking those, I don't like the word weeds because it's too negative, but those additional plants that are then growing are absorbing a bunch of your nutrients as well. And so it is like it can drastically like reduce yields. And so like a lot of our earlier yields were not as big as they could have if I would use plastic mulch. But it's like I couldn't do it. But then I've started to see more and more people are starting to navigate away from that concept as they're seeing it's like, no, actually we can do it, right? So now we plant a cover crop underneath that we just mow. So we're still adding more nutrients back into the soil continually, but it's also shading that whole lower ground too.